This is God of a Soldier, God's Army Rising for the Youth, with another example among many that I've had concerning policy over God, dealing with what is a significant infection I've been dealing with that suddenly appeared. I was waiting for that, what you call part of Job, with everything else I've experienced with churches, ignorant people, white line drivers, lost marriage. I've just being outside the winters and whatever have you. Consistently, I'm still out there on that part, on location, in one of my enjoyment moments right now, after just coming away from this very hospital in La Plata, Maryland, which proved yet again massive disrespect, not only to home as former military, one individual security guard who was also former military, throwing it in my face while having an infection, swollen right testicle, which I still have. Different things like that is just going into it, but I'm going to get into how once again many talk policy, and yet you see they don't keep their own. Because first off, even before getting to the main event, when I arrived at the hospital, which was because of the sudden uptick of very dramatic pain, level 10 and higher for real. All you could do was grunt and whatever because it was that bad. And clearly I knew I was talking infection. Didn't have no idea how it came to be, just knew that this is what it was. This was obviously that physical Job moment, that part that I had been waiting for something to happen physically, that type of deal. There was no doubt that it was something that can be more threatening life-wise, further proven when I got there. And to try to get to the point on that, let's talk policy, because one of the things I took note of, side note, I recognize the voice of a woman I know that has had some issues of her own, who will speak strong of God, Lord, but obviously, she's done certain things for the name of survival, whatever. I won't get deep. And yet the staff in the emergency room was laughing, and I'm listening at this while I'm even dealing with my pain before anything administered and all of that type of thing. But find out I'm getting admitted. This is for the first time in my life. Also, the event itself is the first time in my life. And while being in a room, I noticed things, again, that was off. Obviously, I'm dealing with a fever. I'm not sure where I'm at with right now. I mean, I seem okay enough. I mean, there's areas, obviously, to better check for that if you don't have the apparatus, which is neck and, like, poor male crotch area, definitely. Will definitely much better read any temperature than any time your head. But they never even issued cold compresses for things like my neck or head, which would help counteract the temperature elements, which is also obviously due to the infection. That was something that was obvious. Even when it came to where I was supposed to put a compress on the right testicle that had swelled up far larger, still is, but fortunately on the pain tip, it's not been an issue since I left, whatever have you, and you'll see how that wound up even happening in a moment. 9 a.m., the very moment of the crap I went through, they hadn't even prepared the typical ice pack that I was supposed to put on that, and I was supposed to be consistently doing that when I was there. Now, even going into that very day, my mother was a lab tech and a phlebotomist. She used to be head lab tech at that very hospital before all the modifications, all that, and I used to be a cleaning / floor tech, burn medical waste, all that back when they did all that. And the woman was sticking a needle in my right arm. She's twisting it all around in there, sticking it back and forth. And I know what's supposed to happen. I know where she should have stuck it. She made the claim, we can't put it in your left because the IV is so low. When there's clearly areas on the left arm, you could have got it in there. It wasn't blocked to the point you couldn't have done so. And I knew all of this because I'm very knowledgeable about things. And I was making some of that known even during the time I was there. I pointed out an area. She sticks it in there. Like I said, she pushes the needle in. She's twisting around. She's hitting spots she shouldn't be hitting inside. So I said, I don't know who trained her. But, she's working it around and whatnot. And I'm like, don't let her slice a vein do something stupid because she's plucking around when all she has to do is come up near the wrist or something, or at least on that side, and stick in an obvious area and draw the blood. Then she hits an obvious vein in the area I was closer to talking about, only to finally get the vein, which was clearly a small vein, and get a slow draw, which wasn't even legitimate to what needed to be drawn. And that led me to the main person, who was a young nurse, early 20s, okay, and I'm 46, who came out of Texas only a year prior, from my understanding from her own mouth. She knew my struggles, battles, being on the street, former military, all of that, because I told all this to her. Seemed nice enough. And my grandfather always said, watch the smiling faces, because they smile on your face, stab you in the back. Well, this was a good example of that as well. Because at one point, with all these other things that was kind of happening while I was in the room, and we're still talking maybe another day or two that I was due to be in while they were narrowing down what exact antibiotic, already getting a concoction, which I didn't even know that because they weren't broadcasting that to me the way they should have to tell me up front the moment they were really administering it. Those were just things they weren't following to want to talk policy, and you're going to see why this really matters in a minute. But